Welcome to the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast.
My name is Jen Clark.
And I'm Elke Clark. We are a mother-daughter team who started our Zazzle e-commerce businesses over 10 years ago and have sold over $15 million worth and counting of products on Zazzle with our designs on them.
We had so many people asking us how we did this, so we created the Profit by Design Academy, a 12-month coaching program where we will implement the 5 strategies we have used for success on Zazzle.
When we aren't coaching our amazing clients to reach millions in sales on Zazzle, we love cooking food from places all over the world that we've traveled to, jet setting to our next dream destination, spending quality time with our close friends and family, or having fun creating our next bestsellers in our own Zazzle businesses.
In this podcast, we share actionable steps you can take to make money in your online business using Zazzle. Each episode will take you one step closer to creating that perfect business, which will give you the freedom to live your dream life.
We believe that you can have anything you dream of, as long as you work smarter, not harder. We're here to give you the tools you need to make your dream life happen. So let's get started. Well, hey there, it's Elke, and welcome to another podcast episode of the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast. Hey, I'm Elke Clark. If you have yet to know who I am, welcome to this podcast. Jenna is on another mission of helping our clients, coaching clients, to do better on the Zazzle platform and create an online business that is the business of your dreams. And today is exactly the time for us to talk about dream online businesses, because that's our topic. How can you create a 7-figure online business while still working your 9-to-5 job? Whether you call that a side hustle or, taking all your spare time to create another business so that you can work on that business, make it work for you so that you can fire your 9-to-5 job or fire your boss. This is the topic for today. We get this asked quite a bit in our coaching program and saying, well, how can I make the transition? And you definitely need to make a transition, because it would be irresponsible of you to just quit unless you have like a really big cash reserve or a husband like I did that was going to support you while you created your online business. So this is not something that's just unique to yourself. There's lots of people in our coaching program that have actually done this and worked it out, and even are still working on their full-time jobs while enjoying the fruits and labors of creating a business that's a 7-figure Zazzle online business. And so today I'm going to showcase 2 of our clients that have done that, and also give you a lot of information about what you need to do to make this happen for you, and also for you to hear a little bit more about the stories of these 2 clients that I'm going to showcase today. And that will hopefully help you to not only know that it could be possible for you, but also that, you're not alone, right? You're struggling on your own to try and get this to work, and you don't know how to do it, but you want to do it. And here's the information that you need to get started and the proof that people are doing this already. And so it gives you some courage and motivation to continue on your journey. And it'll also give you some clear ideas as to what it is that you need to do and where you can find support and so on to get that. Obviously, this podcast is the beginning, because we're going to go dive into what's necessary. But obviously, again, and I'm saying obviously because it's clearly the case, is if you want to do something really well, then you need a coach or a trainer or a course or something to move you from nothing to something. And so that is part of the picture in terms of you learning and training yourself to become that business owner it's not just a matter of having that goal, right? It's also a matter of stepping into that role. And that's really important just on the get-go. So I'm really excited to get started and deep dive into this. So let's get started at the beginning. All right. So can you create a 7-figure online business while working full-time? The answer is yes. And we are here, I'm here to tell you today, but Jen and I are always coaching and helping people to make a business for themselves that they love so they can live their dream life. And that's always our topic because we have experienced it. Both Jen and I have, and I can tell you my backstory a little bit because Jen wanted to, and Jen's story as well, but because Jen wanted to not work in an office job. She is just not that kind of creature that can be held down. In fact, I've never experienced, she's my daughter and I've never experienced anything like this, but she managed to stay on one job for a day. And then the other one she did so poorly on purpose because she wanted to get fired. And it's like, oh my gosh, like that's such a change in my reality because I was always just really thankful for having a job. And I did everything possible to make sure I kept that 9-to-5 job because I didn't feel like I had any other opportunity or could do anything else other than that thing that someone told me that I needed. This is how I was supposed to make money. And whereas, the brazenness and the courage that Jen had, even though at the time as a parent, I thought, she's very ungrateful and she's not really, taking advantage of things that are right there in front of her. But she made a clear point after I sort of got over the fact that she, maybe could have tried a little harder, but she just knew what she needed to do and she wanted, right? And so that's what she did. And she found out through what I was doing, her online opportunity. And so therefore she took advantage of that. And she lived in Spain for 10 years and supported herself through this online opportunity. My story is the other way around. I was determined to make sure that I got the best 9-to-5 job ever so that after 5 o'clock, I could have my own life. Whereas, oh my gosh, that never happened. In fact, the higher amount of money that I wanted to earn, the job required, even though it said 9-to-5, more and more time other than just the 9-to-5, right? Because that was in the time when laptops started coming into, this is really dating me, but laptops were coming into play. And so the company that I was with was actually featured in Forbes magazine as one of the top progressive companies for women to work at where they could continue to have a career while still managing to have a life and a family, this work-life balance, you could work at home, all that stuff. And so I thought, this is awesome. And I'm going to do this. I'm dedicated to my 9-to-5 job. And unfortunately, my 9-to-5 job was not dedicated to me. And so ultimately, even though that was the write-up and I fell for that, in the end, my 9-to-5 turned into more like 9 to 11 p.m. rather than a break. I had to come do all the things that I wanted to do with my family and take care of my kids, make dinner, and then I had to go right back to work, right? Because of the way that they structured it. They thought that they were giving us the tools to be more flexible, but in the end, it was actually the tools to do more work and spend more time and trade more time for my dollars that I was getting. And so, I feel really strongly about this, that first of all, there needs to be a work-life balance. And if that's one of the reasons that you're starting to move into a side hustle that's going to get you out of your 9-to-5 job, that was the best decision ever that I made, was to switch from the 9-to-5 to an online business where I was in control. I would highly recommend, though, that you don't do what I did, which was I just walked into my boss's office one day and I go I quit. I'm done. I can figure this out on my own. I'm going to do my own thing. And it took me a couple of years because I had no training in the online space and I was not clear as to even what I wanted to do. I was just going to try a whole bunch of things, which I did. I still have this really big binder that has about 40 tabs in it that are all the things that I tried and all the passwords and everything of what I was doing. And I actually was successful at a couple of them. And I did not just online stuff. I did other things too. But I realized that online was where it needed to be, even though that was back in 2008. And it was really it was like being in Star Trek, the new frontier. And I just really didn't even know if that was going to be something that could be continuous and long lasting. Yeah, that really dates me, right? But that's exactly what happened. Was I said, this has got to be my business model because it'll allow me to do work whenever I want to. And I can work, after and around my kids' schedules. And then I can have that balance in my life. And I can also work less hours and make more money, which was huge, right? Something that I hadn't even really understood the concept of. So now when you're in this, and so fortunately, talking about my career and Jen's career as online entrepreneurs, we now have made over 1.5 million take home. We've sold in the marketplace, because sometimes when people tell you their earning numbers or their revenue numbers, right, you think, oh, that's cool, right? Because we have sold over $15 million worth of Zazzle products, which is our platform that we use to be, create our online businesses. And it's an e-commerce platform. If you're listening to us for the first time, you've heard our intro, but it's an e-commerce platform that anyone can join and just create a store right away. However, it's not that easy, because once you do that, you're kind of stuck as to, well, how do I run this online business, right? And this is where we come in. We learned the hard way. We've spoken about this in many other ones of our podcasts, but it took us a long time to really get to that first 6-figure year where I earned 6 figures in my Zazzle business take home. And that would mean that because I set my royalty at 10%, I would have made $1 million in sales that year when I made $100,000 that year. And so now with the training that we give to our clients, our coaching clients, that's really shortened down from me being I think it was my 5th or 6th year on the Zazzle platform. Yes, that's crazy, right? That a side hustle would take that long to get up to speed and be worth doing. But that was because there was nobody else teaching that in the Zazzle space. And Zazzle's very unique as an online e-commerce business. And so you need that kind of extra training of someone who already knows. And so now that our clients are doing the training and the coaching, they're reaching these $100,000 goals in 2 years, actually the best record is 3 years, barely 2.5, 3. And it's really exciting, because it means, first of all, there's a way to do this. There's an online business that works, and there's no ceiling on the amount of money that you can make. And as you make more money, you can actually reduce your hours. So right now, Jen and I, we hardly ever work on our Zazzle businesses, but it's still working for us. And that makes it so much fun, because then, first of all, whether you quit your 9-to-5 or not, you can actually still have your side hustle doing really well for you. And what I'm going to talk to you about now is how to get this started, and then give you those 2 examples of coaching clients that we have that are current coaching clients, even because they keep benefiting from our coaching as they move up and scale even higher. But they've already reached over $250,000 in lifetime earnings. And that means that they've sold 2.5 million each on the Zazzle platform. So yeah, is that right? Oh my gosh, I'm doing the math incorrectly. But still, that's really the key here, is that when you reach the earnings, which is what I was talking about before, where it's a profit taking home compared to the revenue, which is that sales dollar that people throw in front of your face and go I made this much money. No, you didn't, because check to see what you take home, right? So the 2 that I'm going to talk about have each taken home $250,000 worth of Zazzle earnings that they've personally been paid out. And that means if they've sold, if they've set their revenue at 10%, then it's 2.5 million that they've sold within a very short time period, 3.5 years. So again, and I always say this, there's no income claim statements that I can make here. Also, Zazzle's not a get-rich-quick scheme. Can't tell you any of that stuff, because it's not. But nice and slow pace at a good amount of hours worked per month that are manageable, even if you're in a 9-to-5, can actually start to build you a very sustainable 6-7 figure business, depending on what kind of 7 you want to, the kind of figure you want to talk about, whether it's the sales or the earnings. Okay, because Jen and I have made that $1 million earnings in total, which is enough money. It's really awesome that it keeps coming in, so that for years now we have just enjoyed a whole other lifestyle, because we no longer work on our day job, and we also just have that wonderful Zazzle earning that keeps paying us every month, that allows us to do the things we love to do, and also we love our work on the Zazzle platform. Okay, so that's kind of the hopefully you're salivating now. But I just wanted to let you know that these things are possible. Even though I can't make any income claim statements, they're happening to people who are coaching clients, and they've happened to us. and they're still happening. And that's the most important thing, right? Is that means that there's an opportunity for you to dive in right now and take advantage of that same opportunity. I'm just so passionate about this because it's changed our lives, Jen and I's lives. COVID was not an issue for us. And it's so, like, we almost felt really bad because we were still making money while others were losing their jobs and had to go to work that put them into jeopardy in terms of maybe catching the virus and so on. And we were just happy at home doing our online business and still making more and more money because online shopping is now becoming even more prevalent than it was before because of all the things happening with COVID. And so it's just the best place to be right now is the online space and in an e-commerce space so that you can just jump into a business model, which is what we did, which a long time ago. But now this business model is just so much more robust and effective, and it has a bigger audience in terms of customers, and it just is so much easier than it was when we first started to make a significant amount of money on the Zazzle platform. All right, so let's go into some of the points as to what you need to get started. As I mentioned already, you have to pick an online business that you can work in for only a few hours a week. So like there's some criteria, and we're going to go through this. So pick a business that you can do within a few hours a week. With the Zazzle business and with our coaching program, we actually teach people how to get work done and specify that you should be able to get work done with 5 hours maximum a week. That's right, 20 hours a month should be your maximum that you put into this. I know everyone's going like, oh, that can't be possible. Yes, there'll be spurts where maybe you'll do some learning where you'll have to really learn the platform or increase your design capabilities or something like that. But if you're going to set up a business, you can literally set it up by working a certain amount of hours, like for example, our 5-hour suggestion per week, so that you can gradually, slowly set your business up. Okay. And so that works, right? You're not trading your time for dollars in that regard. And 5 hours in a week is doable if you have a 9-to-5 job, right? Okay, so the other thing you need to do is pick a business model that works for you, not only that you can use now to start working on your business, but is long-term so that you can benefit from your work now without having to continue to do that work. Again, don't trade time for dollars. Have the work done once, and then the benefits come multiple times. And that's what the Zazzle platform is like. It's not a platform where you have to meet a certain quota every week, otherwise they kick you out. And it's also not a place where you have to pay a subscription or pay per listing or anything like that. And it's also a place where you're not supposed to, in fact, and you're not supposed to, it's in your agreement, to pay for ads to drive traffic. You can use teachings that we teach in the Profit by Design Academy, which is our coaching program, the way that you can do that organically. And it's not just working for you once organically, it works for you long-term organically, because the things that we made and posted for sale, maybe like, let's say 2009, 2010, some of those are still selling today, which is now 2021. And so benefits, as you work through this and understand the concept, you're constantly making products that you're putting up for sale, but they're all in the digital space. And that's another thing we love about the Zazzle platform, irrespective of it's working for you as a way to get into your side hustle, but it's an ecologically friendly business model, which means that only once a customer has actually purchased the digital version, like they look at it and they see this is what this is going to look like, that's when Zazzle takes a blank one of those products and prints the design on it that we have put in our store to sell. And so I don't have inventory. I don't have to get rid of inventory. It's just there. And the same thing with you. You can always keep those pieces of inventory on the Zazzle marketplace, and at some point they might sell, even if it's years later. And even I've had one design where the design just didn't sell at all. And I kind of fixed it up a little bit, changed the titles and tags about 4 years after I made it. And then it finally started to sell. And now it's been selling for the last 3 or 4 years without me doing anything else about it. And it's given me quite a bit of income, which is awesome. Okay, so let's recap. One of the first thing is make sure that the business model is allowing you to get it set up and actually run within a certain number of hours that are manageable during the month, which in our case is, I recommend 20 hours a month, which are doable. The second is that you're going to do the work once and get paid often. And it's also long term, so that nothing that you do has to be redone, or you have to continue to, like Instagram, right? You have to continue to keep your friends and followers happy. Otherwise, all of a sudden everything tanks. We don't want that. We want a business that's online, that doesn't require that consistent effort every time, and that it actually builds on itself, right? So the effort I put in 2010 is still there for me as effort that's going to contribute to my bottom line of all the products that I have available for sale. The third thing that I'm going to suggest to you is that it also needs to be scalable, right? Even though when our students and clients start out, they make maybe a couple of thousand in their first year, that's okay, because I'm actually very happy for them, because that means it's working for them. Scalability is a second part. It's teachable. And on the Zazzle marketplace, there is no ceiling. You can earn as much as you want as long as you do the things that are necessary to get the sales of those products. And it is a lovely thing, because when I was working my 9-to-5 job, even though I'd gotten graduate degrees, yes, I have a PhD in a science background, I still got to the point where my company boss said to me, unless I go back and get another degree, I wouldn't be able to increase my income past a certain level. And I had already spent so many years doing a job, getting the education for that. And to be told that, no, for the rest of your life, you can't make more than this, that really bothered me. And it's the way of a lot of 9-to-5 jobs, or even corporate jobs. Doesn't matter. If you get told that you can't make more than what you're already making, even if you go overtime, then maybe this is your chance to say, okay, pick a business model that works, like, for example, the Zazzle platform, and see where it can take you, because it might bring an entire different level of possibilities for you in your life if you realize that you didn't just need to plan for this ceiling level of income to be the way that your life should be, right? And so if that resonates with you, then Zazzle is one of those platforms that can allow you to earn as much as you want, or not or keep it at a certain level. For example, when I reached the 100,000 mark, and I did go to 150, sometimes 165 in terms of my yearly income, but after a while, it's like I'd paid off everything, and I saved and did a whole bunch of other things with my earnings. And so I was in a really good position where I could have more time for myself than actually have need to work in order to continue to build and grow it even more. And it's been really nice and even as a level what I need, but I don't have to go crazy if I don't want to. But on the other hand, if I do want to make more money, I know what to do. I can put in the time and effort, and then I can get back or up to a further level of income, depending on where I want to go. And it's crazy to think that that's a possibility, because where else can you find a possible earnings model that gives you that ability that you can literally do more work? And if you do the right work and the smart work, there's a very high chance that you can increase that income. So cool. So cool.
Have you heard about the Profit by Design Academy coaching program yet?
Are you a new or current Zazzle designer who is struggling to figure out how to make Zazzle work for you? Worried that you're wasting your time using the throw spaghetti against the wall to see if it sticks method? And unsure how you can start and scale your Zazzle business to reach your first $5,000 month?
Then the Profit by Design Academy coaching program is the perfect solution for you. You will feel confident, supported, and clear on how to create your dream Zazzle business.
Imagine having the exact 5 strategies that we use to build and scale our Zazzle businesses, which have sold over $15 million worth of Zazzle products so far.
And it's not just us. The 5 strategies taught in the Profit by Design Academy coaching program and the coaching support have helped our clients sell over $6 million worth of Zazzle products so far.
Head to the show notes to grab the link and we'll see you inside the Profit by Design Academy coaching program. Now let's get back to the show. So as I've mentioned all the way through, Zazzle is that one platform. If you want to look at other platforms that are also e-commerce print-on-demand companies, you can do that. But I find that Zazzle allows much more individuality in terms of the products that you can make and also the designs you can put on them, which allows you a whole other scope of selling. Print-on-demand companies other than Zazzle, and you can do this on Zazzle too, but that extra grouping of income possibilities on the Zazzle marketplace comes from the fact that customers can customize their products after you create them. So instead of just if you now come from Cafe Press or Society 6 or Redbubble, what you're doing is you're still working because you still have to create graphics or photographs or artwork or anything that is the art piece that you're uploading as an image onto the other platforms like Teespring, anything, whether it's, a graphic design with a saying on it or it's artwork or a surface pattern, you have to make that, right? And that's always the thing is if you don't hit that niche specifically that customer wants, or, maybe you created a surface pattern with pink, purple, and blue flowers, and they really want pink, purple, and peach flowers. So if that would mean you have to create another one with peach flowers in that same pattern, that's work. Whereas on the customization elements of the Zazzle platform, you can actually let the customer change the color. You can let the customer add the text. You can let the customer take your design and completely make an entirely new design and upload their own graphics and upload their own, elements, and you still get paid. Even though that's I've had so many customers that have done a review of my products that were my original products that I had posted for sale. They've started with that. They use the design tool, which is open to them on the Zazzle marketplace to use. And then they post a review of the actual product that they bought. And I swear to God, it doesn't look anything like as my original design was. And they love it. They go I love this product from this seller. And it's wow, this is cool. I'm getting paid even though the other person, the customer, did the work, but I was the inspiration. I was the one that they started with my design. And I'm still getting paid for that, even though it doesn't look anything like what my original design was like. The huge possibilities in that whole scenario that I talked about is why I love Zazzle so much, because it just increases your income stream so much compared to if you just were always waiting for that one person to resonate with that one example of your artwork that you posted or your graphics or anything that you create on Photoshop or in photography or as a canvas or painting. And so the sky's the limit, because sometimes you're not even involved in the design process. You're just the initial inspiration. And that's why I just love the Zazzle platform, and it gives us so many opportunities to earn more and more money. Okay. So, and if you haven't already, figured out that this is exciting, then I hope this has helped. So let's move on to what's needed to start on this whole new business, right? Now we've convinced you that this is a great business model and you can definitely slip into this easily. What do you need to start? And well, first of all, as I've alluded to a little bit already, you definitely need to learn what's needed to do a good job, right? There are millions of people on the Zazzle platform as a designer, right? It's easy. You just open up a store. It's free. You have to be 13 years of age. And then after that, you can just start, right? And, but so many people give up very soon after, or they spend years thinking that you can only make a couple dollars a month, if that, and maybe you get a payout twice a year from Zazzle. I'm here to say you can get a payout every single month, and some of our coaching clients get payouts in the $15K K mark. So like they make $15K a month in some cases, right? So that's $15,000 Zazzle pays out to them US, and it's a thing. And so I want you to find out what your skill sets are that you're missing, so that you can be an online business entrepreneur, because that's not actually an easy task. You have to learn a whole bunch of new skill sets, and you have to have a different way to think about business. And you have to also have more responsibility, right? Because you're the one running that business, and it's up to you to be accountable for yourself and so on. So all of those things together, plus understanding the Zazzle platform, knowing what skill sets you need for your products that you put up, those designs, because I'm saying it interchangeably. Basically, what you do is you do a design and you upload it onto a product, or you actually design on the product and then you post it for sale, depending on what you do, whether you're using the design tool or not. But either way, what you need to know is, what are those designs that I'm going to spend my time on that are actually going to end up selling? And so that's the key piece that's missing between you being at 0 and you being at success of 7 figures. And so that takes learning. So you have to understand that's not a Google search kind of thing. You can definitely watch our podcasts or listen to them. We have a ton of stuff on our blog. We do free trainings and so on. But ultimately, if you just want a step-by-step process that you can follow and get this business up and running properly with a solid foundation, using our 5 strategies that we've trademarked, and also the principles of setting up a good solid foundation, the principles of success the 3 pillars that we always talk about, which if you want some other episodes, I'm going to link those in the show notes to the 5 strategies and the pillars, so that you understand the key components that are necessary. Then you'll go like, wow, that's a lot of stuff. Maybe I should just get the step-by-step program and get the coaching so I can ask questions. And so that's how we've made it easy for you. Whether you purchase through, if you actually enroll or not, that's up to you. And we're good either way. The key piece here is that you have decided to create a side hustle, an online business that could hopefully even take the place of your 9-to-5 at some point. But how do you get started without getting overwhelmed and burnt out with doing your 9-to-5 at the same time, right? Because you really want to get this going. And so that's a good option, is to learn. And that's why the next point is get the help so you can do it faster with less overwhelm and stress. Okay, and then the third thing is to overcome any obstacles that come in your way, because this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. There will be obstacles, things like we were doing really well and all of a sudden COVID hit. So we had to teach our coaching clients a little bit more about how to pivot and switch when things are not the same that they were used to, right? Because all of a sudden certain niches were no longer as effective on the Zazzle platform, like, for example, weddings, where people were solely focused on weddings. Then all of a sudden, no one was getting married because no one could get together. And so anyone who was specializing in weddings lost a lot of income and went from basically like 10,000 a month to maybe like 500 a month. And that's scary. And that's not okay, that your business isn't set up properly so that you can buffer and survive those types of changes. But that's what we teach in our coaching program. Okay, so then the other thing is to stay confident. And that's a biggie, because as you move through this business, you're going to have times where you're unsure about is this the right thing? It's a lot of work. I'd rather be watching Netflix. And do I really, whether you say things like, am I really worthy to have this happen for me? I really would like it, but could it possibly be that it's not just in the cards for me? And I think that that's not okay that you get those thoughts, because it doesn't allow you to reach your full potential. And this is where coaching comes in, because so many of our students, including the 2 clients that I'm going to talk about in a minute, had that same issue. They didn't think that they could do more than they thought they were already doing. And so that's incredibly important that you stay confident in your goals and then reach for the stars if you want to. And then the last part of how to start this whole new business is to have your why defined and always top of mind. Whenever something's getting really rough or stressful or tough, and you kind of want to you just want to veg on the couch rather than getting that work done that week for the 5 hours you committed to, then you have to think about your why, i.e. why you are doing this in the first place, right? And so if you define your why as something extremely powerful, then it'll always be your motivator, and it'll always allow you to say, I'm going to push through this. I've got this. I'm going to do this. And ultimately, your why will also be the thing that gives you the most joy. And so that's you're aiming and working towards a different life that's more joyful, more aligned with who you are, and you're definitely on the right path, even though there's obstacles in the way. You maybe lack confidence and you're not getting there fast enough and you don't know what you're doing yet. So the why just helps bring up all those other points and overcome them. All right. So thank you. That's so much information. So just let's take a minute to breathe in and remember that. So you're going to pick a business model that gives you the hours that you can work comfortably to get to that 7 figures while you're doing your 9 to 5. You're going to pick a business model like Zazzle where you can get paid even years later if something sells that you made. And also you're not going to have to just work all the time for the hour trade for the money trade, right? Working for, when you're trading dollars for hours that you worked, you're a slave to your own business or also your boss, right? And we want to switch that so that we want to get to a business model where you are still working, you do smart work, but then you have a lot more free time. And ironically, you can actually make more money with less work time put in. Okay. And then the way that you're going to start that is by getting the learning and teaching that you need in the coaching so that you can get there faster. And you can also just understand where you are in this whole picture, right? Because you're the boss. You're the one that's going to make the difference, but you're also the worker. And so therefore, if you don't have that skill set, then you've got to attain it, right? Or you have to hire out someone, but do you have that money to do that yet? No. And so therefore, that's the business model is you doing this extra work. And so the sooner you can get the training and the guidance to get there faster and to do it effectively, then the sooner you'll see that success coming through. And it'll allow you to get over the obstacles, stay confident, and ultimately achieve your why. All right, so let's move into the stories and before I finish off, because I want to talk to you about 2 people. One is Brandon, and he's always been a generous supporter of our training because of how much it worked for him. He works at a very high level 9 to 5 job, and that's why his identity is a little bit hidden, because it's really important that he keeps his anonymity. But he's been so supportive of our coaching program because his why is very strong. He wants to retire early, but he obviously can't yet. And so therefore he had to balance the work life, right, with his 9 to 5 and his side hustle. But he didn't just want to make a few dollars. He wanted to get to 7 figures. And in terms of sales, and keep that going for several years so that then he can decide what he wants to do. And that's really, really important for him. And he tried on his own for 5 years to make Zazzle work. So he literally found the business model. He understood the value of it. He was trying to make it work, but he couldn't. He made $2,500 in 5 years trying on his own. And then when he started in our training and our coaching program, obviously we've already talked about him a little bit, but he's one of our coaching clients that has reached over $250,000 in lifetime earnings. And that means that he sold over $2.5 million worth of Zazzle products within a 3.5 year time span from when he started. So 5 years on his own, making $2,500. It's ironic, actually. It's all at least 2 5s, right? But then in 2.5 years, he'd already reached 100,000. And by 3.5 years, he's now reached 250,000. And that means that he sold $2.5 million worth of Zazzle products. So he's reached that 7-figure goal, but now he wants to make that money at a 6-figure level every year, which is awesome because he's done the work. He's gotten the coaching. He's always never meant to, in fact, he takes sometimes 3 to 4 months off because in his 9-to-5 job, it gets busier, right? And so he can't even do work on the Zazzle marketplace for in his stores and his business at some points in the year. And then, but other times he will wake up at 5:30 in the morning and he'll work for an hour or so that every, all through Monday to Friday, he's managed to get his 5 hours in, right? And so that's all it takes. If you really want to be committed and get there, you can. And that's all there is to it. It has to do with getting the results as fast as you can by getting the help and by having that commitment and this really strong why so that you can actually keep going for those bigger targeted numbers. All right. And Christine's story is similar in that she works in the Philippines and she works with her family's business, which means that she has to be at the store, open up the store every morning, and she has to be there from 9 till when they close. And then after a long, long day at work, she'll do an hour of Zazzle sometime at 10 or 11 or 12 o'clock even sometimes at night. And even though she might be tired, she knows that the value of that hour that she spends. And she has since, starting with us in 2018, she has made over $250,000. I think by the time we get to this recording, it will be even more, but I can't guarantee that. But I just want to make sure I don't make any income claims that are not correct. But she's very, very happy that she has made that much money because in 2 years doing the Zazzle platform on her own, she made only $130. And so this is the huge change. But both Brandon and Christine are both, first of all, not even creatives, really. They just learned what is necessary to create those designs that do seem to be the most popular on the Zazzle marketplace for customers. And then they've leveraged that. How do they manage to do that? They learned through our Profit by Design Academy, which is not just a coaching program. It's basically tells you the business side. It tells you how to use the tools step by step that are on the marketplace on Zazzle. And also it teaches you all the different ways that you can design, because that's really important because that's what you're selling, right? You're selling designs that you've created, and it can be typography, it can be graphics, it can be artwork, it can be photography. But in the end, you have to be that designer. And so since Brandon and Christine were actually not designers, Brandon is a photographer and Christine dabbled in Photoshop, but she's so glad now that she doesn't do that anymore. But in the Profit by Design Academy, we teach you all the different ways that you can actually bring designs to the marketplace on the Zazzle platform that are lucrative for you and get you those sales. Then the second thing is Brandon's in North America. Christine is in the Philippines. So there is no barrier to entry here in terms of where you are in the world or what time zone you're in, because Zazzle is an international company. They sell all over the world. And guess what? You don't actually have to be present or even you don't have to be only selling within your country's domain of the Zazzle platform. You can sell on all platforms all throughout the world. And that's the best part, is that it's an international opportunity for you to sell and reach customers everywhere in the world at every single time of the day. And actually, Zazzle just takes care of all of the fulfillment, all the customer service, all the billing. All you do is manage your store and organically promote your products. And even though that seems so simple, the key here is there's still a lot to learn in terms of marketing and management of your business and scalability. And that's the part that the coaching program really thrives in, because the rest is all taken care of by Zazzle. So I'm really excited that Christine and Brandon have done so well. And they also value and know the value of the help that they've gotten, because they've experienced that 2-year or 5-year gap where they've tried on their own and they have yet to get those results. And then as soon as they started getting the help, and then they got results. And I want to also say that in Brandon's first year, and I don't know the numbers, but I think he managed to reach about $10,000 in earnings that he was getting paid out from Zazzle. And Christine was about 3,800, I think. Then in their second year, Christine doubled it, or 10 times it, actually. I think she made $38,000 or something like that. And Brendan, too, he got to about 35,000 in his second year. And so I want you to hear this very clearly. I'm not here to go and check out somebody else who's claiming that you can make $1 million in a month. First of all, I think you better check them out and make sure that they're legit. But there are certain instances where in other platforms, like on Amazon merch or something, that's a possibility, right? But that's not who I am. It's not who Jen is. I want a long-term, passive, sustainable business that I enjoy and that I know isn't just fly by night, or I've got to jump through a whole bunch of hoops or pay $1 million in advertising in order to get $2 million back or something, because I don't have that money, and I don't really feel comfortable doing that anyway, because what if you don't make those sales, right? So I'm very happy with this business model, and so are Brendan and Christine. And they knew right from the get-go, because that's what I'm always very straight up with everybody, saying that you have to know right off the bat that this is really important, that you know that this is not a get-rich-quick scheme and you have to work at it, and that you'll get results slowly, but after a while, the results will almost be exponential if you set up your business properly and if you continue to overcome obstacles along the way where there's shifts, right? So, for example, when Brandon was faced with what happened with COVID in 2020, then he didn't quite act right as quickly as Christine. And so his income dropped a little bit. He made up for it later when around Christmas time, when he was ready for the Christmas rush. He had been ready because he started working in October, which is when we're recording this podcast. And you're probably going to hear it in November. And so in the Christmas time, he did a really great job of recovering his lost earnings from earlier in the year. Whereas Christine right away took our pivot guide that because that's who we are as coaches, we saw COVID coming. We realized that some people were suffering in terms of their original business. And so we created, not the ones that were in our coaching program, but literally we could just see the impact in some cases. And Brandon also had the pivot guide, just so you know, but he wasn't able to act on it. But Christine acted on this pivot guide that we created, which was like a 35-page document that allowed people to really understand what was happening and how they could leverage COVID in terms of the online space on Zazzle. And Christine ended up making $100,000 in the 2020 year because she acted on that extra coaching that we gave basically for free. It wasn't part of our coaching program. And so this is the part that is super important to really understand, that even though this sound like I'm making it sound so easy and I'm making it sound exciting and lucrative, it's also work, and you have to continue to be responsible for your business if you want to continue to keep the level of income at the level that you get it to. And so, but that's how I'm going to end this, because there are other people that are our coaching clients who are doing incredibly well as well. Just not as high an earning yet as Brendan and Christine. Why? Because there's certain factors, right, that they took and acted on that others have yet to do as well. And that's not because they didn't get the same coaching. They got the same coaching, but it depends on you, right? So this is my message to leave you with, is if you're interested and you're willing, then that's the most important, right? And you're going to stay accountable and you're going to continue to strive for your why. Then I'm so excited for you, because this is how you can still manage your 9-to-5 while creating a business of your dreams that can get you to 7 figures. And that's what Christine and Brandon have done. And I'm so thrilled, because if you listen to some of my old podcasts or some of our old blog posts, you read them, or you see an old YouTube video of ours, you'll see their journey, right? You'll see how we were super excited for them, even when they were only making $38,000 in a year. We were like, this is cool, because I know the journey is part of the excitement, and the where they end up in the future, who knows, but they're still in their 9-to-5 jobs and they're already at $250,000 each in lifetime earnings, which means that each of them have sold over $2.5 million on the Zazzle platform, and they're so excited to see what's next. And hopefully you are also excited to see what's next. Drop a line in the chat or on the YouTube channel video, wherever you, or just message us either on Instagram or anywhere where you are comfortable on a platform, social media wise, and that we can talk and see if this is something that's going to work for you. And I'm so excited for you because it has changed my life. It's changed Christine's life, Brandon's life. The opportunities now are huge. Christine's going to go to school now because she can afford it. And she's always wanted to do a master's degree and in North America. So she's going to do that. And Brandon is doing really well. I think I've already said this once before, but he used his earnings to buy an income property. So not only is he using his earnings to actually make even more money in a different area. Wow, that's so cool, right? So if you've never even thought of these opportunities because you were stuck in your 9-to-5 and thought this was all that life was going to be, then I hope I've really inspired you. So thanks so much, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast with us, Jen and Elke Clark.
We hope this episode has given you actionable steps to building your online business that gives you the monthly cash flow you want while working less and living more.
If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Each review helps us reach more entrepreneurs like you working to create a profitable e-commerce online business.
Follow us on Instagram at Ms. Jen Clark and at Elke Clark, and DM us with your biggest takeaway from today's episode. See you back here next week.